First, the convertible version of the most exciting British hypercar this century. The McLaren 12C Spider.
I'm finding the limit very quickly.
This car and I have history. Our first test of the coupe version in 2011 caused a storm at McLaren HQ. The car fell well short of its major rival, the Ferrari 458 Italia. Jason and I found it to be inconsistent and unstable, and it spat me off the track.
We're off.
McLaren, who are renowned perfectionists, have since reworked the coupe and brand new Spider to be faster and more stable than before. To get the inside line on what's new, I've invited along their chief test driver, British racer Chris Goodwin. He counts Jenson Button as a colleague and knows the car inside out.
How does this differ from the coupe?
Well, first, an obvious difference is it has a retractable hardtop.
But also, when you introduced the Spider, you introduced more power with the engine.
Yeah, 625 PS now on this car. When we launched the Spider, we introduced the new engine calibration for more power, but also more drivability.
Now, onto the bigger issue of high-speed handling. Compared to the beautifully balanced Ferrari, I found the original car to be unpredictable. Its built-in stability systems interfered with my driving, and I ended up in the grass. McLaren have recalibrated the 12C's electronics and claim it's now more predictable. So I've asked Chris to prove it.
We'll do that without a spin.
Even though conditions are very slippery.
Do you understand what we were trying to say? That we just felt we were never fully in control. It wasn't consistent.
What you felt when you drove the coupe originally was what we've improved now, which is much more refined throttle control.
It's taken the power away from me when I wanted it at
Yeah,
times.
so you get into a certain degree of yaw, and the torque would start to drift away.
Yeah.
Which was when you actually wanted it to actually increase.
I was correcting it, and it was correcting itself. So we were both correcting the same thing.
So now you can just power your way out of a corner like that, and the torque and power keeps going.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not like it, Chris. I think it's time for me to have a go now. You've had your fun.
From the passenger seat, it does feel like a very different car. But what about from behind the wheel? It's time for me versus McLaren, round 2.
But before I do get started, there's one thing I do need to talk about that hasn't been changed, and that's Lewis Hamilton's famous steering wheel moulded to his grip. But unfortunately, it's got like 3 different textures. It's round and lumpy here, it's thin and sharp at the top, and it's all squared off at the bottom. And it just doesn't give me the feel that I want of a steering wheel. Of course, feel is what this car is all about. Neither Jason nor I liked its feel when we took it right to the limit before. And that's what hopefully has been changed and what I'm about to find out. It's turning, it's pointing, I'm finding the limit very quickly. This is really a much more sorted car. I can build some confidence, get into that throttle. Plenty of grip still there in reserve. It's bringing a much bigger smile on my face than it did before, that's for sure.
The coupe and Spider now have programmable exhaust notes. McLaren have even specifically tuned the convertible to sound good with the roof down.
Job done.
Although it's still not Ferrari good. McLaren's fastidious approach has even spread to the interior. The climate control now works more quickly and quietly. The seats have been redesigned. The headlights now automatically switch on when it rains. Even the hi-fi has been tweaked. This is more modern and easier to use than the 458's interior. But what's most important to me is whether or not I can make this revised 12C power slide. Is it now more controllable?
Try and give it some kick in this hairpin. Oh, Everything's gonna hold. Still not trusting it right on the limit. Now, let's see if I can go that bit further. Give it the flick. Hold it, hold it, hold. And yes, you can now drift a McLaren. Perhaps not as easily still as the Ferrari. I'm not quite so confident as trying to stick it sideways and fire it out of a corner. It's still a little bit of deadness there, just when I go sideways. There. I'm not sure I'm fully in control. And when you're sitting in £250,000, you want to be in control. And by the way, McLaren, Lewis has gone. Change the steering wheel.
The 12C is faster, more exciting, better sounding, and the Spider version makes it more glamorous than ever. But is it enough?
So to the big question, is the McLaren 12C now a match for its great nemesis, the Ferrari 458? Well, it's never going to sound quite as good with its turbocharged engine against the normally aspirated Ferrari, and it's still just a little bit too nervous when you're right on the limit. But there's no doubt the McLaren is now a much improved